Hi everybody, it's Lee White joining you this afternoon. I'm going to be talking about this really big question that a lot of people ask me around: is self-worth really related to my income level and the quality of my relationships? So is how I see myself and the value that I put on myself, is that directly correlating to my ability to receive money, abundance, good people, quality relationships? How can that be? I really want to share what I know in this area because your relationship with yourself, your self-worth, what that is in practical terms is the way you talk to yourself internally. So those inner thoughts that you have when you're chatting to yourself. So let's say you lock yourself out of your house. Could happen. And the way that you beat yourself up about what's just happened, or are you more okay with something unexpected happening? Have a think about the people around you, how they react when things like that happen, or do they not react at all? It's really important to be aware of this because our actions are a real indicator of what we believe about ourselves, about our lives, about whether life is supporting you or life is hard. Now, all of you know that I really strongly dislike when I'm hearing people saying life is hard. I'm not into it. I do not go there. And I have such a strong resistance to that because our capacity for joy in this life is so great, no matter what has happened to you. And the only block around that is your perspective when it comes to self-reflection and gaining insight around lessons you could receive through really bad experiences you've had. How you could do things differently. And why I talk about self-worth being so related to your income level and the quality of your relationships is because when you feel worthy of other people's time, other people's money, of giving yourself your own time, so maybe making self-care time, doing the things that you want to do instead of just doing what everybody else wants to do. These types of things are such important devices or ways that you're going to be able to be more self-nurturing. And this is not to be confused with how do you describe it? It's not even in my language. Being too full of yourself. This is not to be confused with that because, I mean, that's just not something that a person in the personal development world would really give any time thinking about, because valuing yourself will enable you to say no to things that aren't creating more for you in your world or creating more for the world around you, and you just playing a part in that. You may be helping someone else. So when your self-worth is at a point where you're not in a strong, feeling confident or like you're worthy of receiving a certain, if it's income level or quality of a relationship, or giving yourself time to have some self-reflection, gain a bit of perspective, and maybe try a new approach next time regarding difficult situations. All of this is so related to your income level. Because when the stories inside of yourself, you know, when I was talking about the self-talk, the inner chats that we have with ourselves, when that is blaming yourself, when that is hanging big hooks of responsibility about things not working out on you, particularly when that's not true, when you look at the facts, and it just kind of feels like you should take the blame, well, that's just not right. And it really affects the abundance in your life. So when we talk about abundance, it's in all areas of your life. So abundance is the opposite of lack. So it could be the lack of food or the abundance of food. Hey, Sally Ann, it's so nice to have you here. We're talking about self-worth and the link between our prosperity and income levels and the quality of the relationships in our lives. And a word that comes up when people are chatting about this stuff is boundaries. And what does that mean? It's very much around when we say yes and no. So if we are invited to something and we automatically say yes before we've really checked in with ourselves, do I have the energy to do this? Do I have the inclination? Am I interested? That's all so key around what you say yes to and what you say no to, which links in with your physical energetic state. At the end of every day, you completely, depleted, and that in turn is linked with the abundance in your life. So this thing around the quality of your relationships and you feeling seen, you feeling safe, you feeling secure in your interactions with others are great indicators of your quality of your relationships. Your self-worth is so key to understand, because when we let go of the story about why we feel unworthy, this is key. You're really getting into the work. So when we let go of the story about why you feel unworthy, the story might be related to, often it's related to early childhood experiences or experiences in a significant relationship like a marriage or something along those lines, or a de facto relationships with sibling. So often it's family. They're the ones closest to us, so they become our greatest teachers. And we may have experiences where our needs weren't met and we were emotionally, or in other terms, in other ways, neglected. So our needs weren't met. And what's really important is letting go of the story about why you feel unworthy. Like if you can even work out why you feel unworthy, you're doing great work, definitely. But once you've pinpointed, I never really thought that my relationship with that person in the family or with that de facto or marriage had such a big impact on me. Of course it did. You were there, you were present, you experienced this, you were feeling, rejected, maybe abandoned, or experiencing shame. And what's so key is for you to understand that you are a person who is interested in improving your life and doing personal development work and in learning and reflecting and being really thoughtful and mindful in your life. Not everybody else is. So when we're letting go of these stories, what's so key is that you recognize that not everyone's on the same trajectory as you. Not everyone's open to developing themselves and creating that legacy of who they were in their lives, or really chasing more joy in their life, or better than chasing, allowing more joy in their life. This is so important because your self-worth really rests in you knowing that worthiness of receiving joy. You may be feeling like some people around you are suffering. How can you be someone that's going to take time out for yourself? Just go and sit by the river, sit at the beach, sit in front of the fire and do nothing and give yourself a break from life. It's a really big question. Who am I to deserve this? It's very relevant because when you aren't making time for yourself, you're literally just racing through life and you're carrying with you those stories that a person, a significant other, had treated you in a certain way, or that you had gone through life not feeling seen and safe and heard and that type of thing. And so your relationship with yourself ends up being where you might be blaming yourself or immediately taking the blame for others, or you might be always wanting to not cause any trouble to others, not be any trouble to others. So, you know, you may not accept help or accept a really great income that you deserve. And you may not accept wonderful people that want to take you on a date because you think at some level it's too good to be true. All of those are very limiting beliefs, and this self-worth work is critical. The cycles in your life aren't going to change until you're ready to do the work, which is so rewarding. And it's not as hard. When I call it work, it's not that hard, but it's about shifting perspectives. It's about letting go of expectations from those who may still be in your life that are difficult or abusive at some level, or and sometimes abuse can be simply them never being available and being neglectful like that, and leaving you out in the cold. It's really important to take time to reflect on this and think about, what stories am I hanging on to that are supporting and perpetuating this feeling of unworthiness? What is it okay for me to just let go of, end the conversation of, and stop feeding so much energy into, and just allow myself to have more joy, allow myself to practice receiving. So when people are giving you great gifts or things or stuff of theirs that is wonderful and you would kind of love to have, but you don't feel like you should accept it, forget it. You totally should. And you are so seen and so loved and appreciated. It's time to just let go of those old stories that are keeping you in a spiral of questioning yourself, of not trusting yourself and not being able to step forward in your life. It's so important to own the value that you bring to this world, and to really give yourself that time to be thinking about, what would be fulfilling for me in this life? Who is on the journey with me and encouraging me to step forward, and who is not? That can help you with some of those yes-no decisions about who you're spending time with, what you're giving your energy to, and make sure you're casting a beautiful vision for your future. Absolutely. And really questioning yourself when you notice that self-doubt coming up and all of those stories linking back to self-worth. It's much more detailed work than what I'm just covering quickly here today, but I want you to understand how deeply linked it is to your foundations, your security, the quality of your relationships, and you just having a great time in this life. There's nothing more that I wish for you, and I hope you found this valuable. Let me know in the comments below if you've got any questions, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.